Well, good morning to you wonderful people out there. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely day. Today, I'm joined by my fabulous friend and colleague, Guiomar Ramirez-Montesinos. She always says here that almost sounds right, but not quite. But I know who she is, and you know who she is. So that's good, isn't it? We're all understanding. Yes. Anyway, great. Okay, so if you're in Spain, you'll probably understand how windy it is at the minute. There's gales out there glowing and blowing and doing all sorts. And wherever it is where you are, hope you're safe, hope you're well. And so today we're going to be talking about the astrology of the week. We can find out what's going out there in the cosmos and what's going on energy-wise, how you guys are feeling, how you've been yourselves. We want to know all about it, all about it. If you've got a birthday week coming this week because you're Sagittarius, then a very happy birthday to you. And what else do we need to tell you? I think that's about it, really, isn't it? So, our people come in to say hello. Susanna says hello. The wonderful Susanna. And I've got to say here, you're probably one of the most admirable people that we have on the show here. Debs Harris, what are you doing, Debs? What is that thing in your head? Anyway, Susanna's one of our greatest followers, so thank you, Susanna. As is Debs. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, lovely people. And okay, so we get a bit closer towards the end of the year, get closer towards Christmas. And how's December shaping up for you? Is it going okay? Now, guys, this is what we want to do. Follow Debs. Follow Debs. See, she says shared. So when you share the show, we give you a little round of applause. We go and do something like this. That's what we do. That's what we do. The reason I do that because that's all we ask you guys to do. So please press the share button. And Batchy wants to share everything as well, by the sound of it. I don't know why he's whining in the background there. They're saying hello in the background. You can hear him. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. He's making a racket this morning. Anyway, good. Right. Okay. So, Zana says thank you. Hey, excuse me. He's having a right go down here. Anyway, I better get on. There he is. He is trying to come up there. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, so during the morning show, let's have a chat about your astrology, what's going on, and let's find out from you guys if you need a little bit of guidance, if the stars are in your favor, if you've got to be cautious of things, or how to handle different areas of your life. So without further ado, I think about time to bring on my wonderful good friend. I'll just find out if she's there. Here she goes. Okay, right. Here she is, the wonderful Kia. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And how are you? I hope you're well.
Good, thank you. I hope everybody's okay. I'm sure everybody is not okay, but I hope everybody's okay with not being okay.
We're okay with what we're okay with. I think that's probably the way to say it.
Not being okay.
Yes. So wonderful. Okay. So as we clamber a little bit closer towards Christmas, do you think that we're getting to that point in time now? We're getting more festive. Is there a festive spirit out there in the stars, or is it just no, nothing whatsoever? I think it's going to get a bit warmer though in the climate as we get a bit closer towards Christmas itself, and the energy starts changing a little bit.
Something there.
Yes. We got. Well, I think for us Capricorns or Earth signs, I think we're up for a little bit of a lift. That when Saturn actually leaves Capricorn and moves off into Aquarius, and Aquarius is going to think, well, what does that mean? You're dumping your stuff on our territory. Yep.
Yeah. But we're getting ready for that now. So it's not like, I think it's interesting to understand that things just don't happen. It's like we have this perception, like when we hear astrology reports or whatever, that like life is like this, and then, oh my God, Mercury's going to go retrograde. No. It's like we're all the time. It's like more like when you're in the sea, you're all the time going up and down. Everything is moving all the time, and then things just don't happen from nowhere. You're building up towards that.
Yes.
So right now, so we're gonna have this like shift, this change of era, and so to say.
We are, aren't we?
Saturn, Jupiter conjunctions haven't happened like in a change of elements since 200 years ago.
That's a long time. It's a long time, isn't it?
Depends on how you see it. Yeah, but it can be pretty long.
Yeah.
Basically, it's all about this capitalist consumer orientated society. It started 200 years ago and it's ending now.
It is,
So
isn't
it's like,
it? Yeah.
exactly. So everybody was born in the other society. So it's like, now what, and it's okay. Changes are cool because all changes bring new energies to experience, and that is always better than in an old pattern. Then the energy gets really, really dense, and that's what creates havoc. So it's not the change
Yes.
per
Yes.
se that creates havoc. The energy of change is very light, very,
Yes.
very light. It's resisting the change that creates havoc.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And I've been working with a lot of clients over the past few weeks, and it's there in this I want to stay in the past mold rather than live in the future mold. And how we can't do that. We really have got to move forwards and change things, change our lives, and look at it completely differently. So I think people are going to be a little bit concerned when we say we're coming out of the capitalist, we're coming out of the consumer society. Do you think that means that, because this is interesting, though, we go back about 200 years, and if we look around this date around 200 years, Christmas was being sort of created, really, wasn't it, by that them, which goes back to King Albert. King Albert, I do believe, the producer probably come up and say, no, it wasn't, it was this date. Anyway, but yes, so and that era then we transform, and then we got into the American culture with Coca-Cola and Santa Claus, and then of course all the consumer stuff comes in where you've got to spend an absolute fortune on everybody for Christmas, and then you've got to save up every year for the Christmas itself. I think a lot of people actually do that as well. So do you
Yeah.
think that is changing? Do you think we're going to look at Christmas as like pre 200 years ago? We start saying let's just have a meal around the table and celebrate well-being and friendship?
Oh, like we don't go backwards. It's not
No,
like, okay,
no,
let's go
okay,
back to
no.
the top. Also, the previous conjunction, I can't remember Saturn Jupiter conjunction. I can't remember what element it was in, but it was a different era also. So we're in this Saturn Jupiter conjunction happens in a set of larger um, changes in time. Like if somebody's really interested in this, there's a historian who became an astrologer, Richard Tarnas. He has a
Oh
book called
yes,
Cosmos and Psyche,
yes,
which is it's like very, very, very well documented history book, but it's explains like the cycles based on astrology, the cycles in like in eras and time spans based on astrology. So that's very, very interesting. So you get like a real wide perspective um, of what these changes are all about. But in
yeah,
essence, I mean, we've been for 8 years. Capricorn has been like, Pluto, then Saturn, then Jupiter, and so all these heavy planets have been there, just saying, okay, what's all this about? What are you doing with this archetype? What are you doing with the Capricorn archetype? Because you're using it as time, as limiting limits,
yes,
limiting beliefs, authority, like external authority. So we're that that archetype is changing now. It's going to change into our own personal authority, our sovereignty, and
yes,
so we're going to operate from a different place. It's not like I mean, the consumerism, the capitalism that we've been used to is absolutely crazy. It's absolutely nuts. It's based on like emotions don't exist. People are not people, they're machines. And corporations are these humongous structures that gobble up the planet. And it's like, this is ridiculous. This is like,
yeah,
we've already started to see that this has no future. We're going to, obliterate the resources in the planet that we need to survive. The planet's going to be fine. It really doesn't care if we're there or not, but we're not going to be fine if this goes on. So this change of Saturn Jupiter into Aquarius is going to help us, amongst all other things that are going on, that it's very important that we live in a more sustainable way, in more community based, more open to people, but at the same time not so codependent, not so stuck on other people, not so, oh, you have to stay like I think you want, like you have to be this way so I feel secure with you, otherwise I don't feel secure and everything has to be in place. All this has to transform because we have to be more sovereign. We can't depend on others to
yeah.
feel what we feel.
I think it's a big thing because I think it takes a little while, doesn't it? Because Saturn, Capricorn, these three planets being there for quite a while, it's like we've got used to this dogma, this way of life, this way of living. And I think for a lot of us, it's like thinking, oh, thank goodness it's changing. Thank goodness it's changing. Thank goodness it's lifting. And for a lot of us, it's also going to feel, I guess it's also going to feel, well, this is a bit, this is going to feel very strange. It's this new era, which is openness. Sometimes I remember when prisoners were being released from jail, I was saying to them a week before, "How you feeling?" "Oh, really excited, can't wait." Then it comes to the door at the point the door's about to open, and out there is freedom, and they go, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I want to stay in here." It's almost become a joke. It's like saying, "No, no, no, you got to go. You got no, no, no." That is scary because it's
Love it.
openness. It's this massive
Love
open.
it.
They're not used to it.
Exactly. Love it. Love it. Love it. That is exactly what's going on. The thing is, instead of jail, it's our soul cage. And our
Yes.
soul cage is all
What a way. Soul cage. Wow. Yeah.
these egoic structures that we've built up.
Yes, I agree. Oh, wow. I
These
think this is amazing
identifications.
stuff to explain it like this. I think it's terrifically interesting. Yes. So, if
Yeah.
people are thinking, if they're thinking, do you think here that it's interesting? Say, for instance, as you say here, people have been taught to you've got to do it this way and you've got to do it that way, like the control system. I think
Exactly.
it's
So you have
more,
no decision. You don't need to decide on what you do because it's all decided for you. And
yeah,
now we're going to have to decide for ourselves.
time for ourselves, and that's where we take back our own sovereignty. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, I can remember when it was like when I was in the forces, everything is almost done for you, or you just need to phone up, go somewhere, and it's done. Like for instance, you need to go to the rope shop to pick up ropes. You need to go to the doctor because you've got a toothache. It's all there. It's all supplied. It's all there. Then when you come out of a unit like that, you then have to go and reconnect to make these things happen. It's not the same. Same in some respects. It's a lazy society when you're in the forces that way. Although you do have a lot of work to go and do, and you're away for a long periods of time, which is very different. But on that particular part, especially on the care side, you really are cared for. In fact, you don't have to think. That's the thing about it. You have to think. But now you're going to have to think.
Exactly. I love the analogies. It's exactly that. It's really having to think of what you want in each moment and what's good for you in each moment. And it's not the same thing for you that it is for another person. And that brings
Yes.
me a bit to the astrology of today, which I find very interesting.
Oh,
It's
I just go and drop the chart in. Hold on a
yeah.
second. I'm gonna
So
drop this in here. There we are there, and we're going to go bop over there, and we're going to go bop over here, so you can all see that. Look, there's a little modern day technology. There we go. There you go. Brilliant. Okay. All right then.
okay.
So let's.
So what's going on in the astrology of today? It's a bit like so we started the year, and this whole year has been about releasing codependent relationships and being more in you. So next year it's about maturing in you and starting to relate in a different way, right? So
Yeah.
things are all building up towards that. You know, new ways of creating relationships.
Yes, so because Aquarius is quite an independent sign for relationships, isn't it? I mean, a lot of a lot of people who relate to Aquarians when it comes to relationships, they say this is going to be interesting because normally they want this space and their freedom. And
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, there's two sides of the Aquarius energy because Aquarians can be very, very patriarchal, and then they can be rebellious and rebel against. Remember, the old ruler of Aquarius is the same ruler as Capricorn. It's
yes,
Saturn.
yes,
So Aquarius does have like a bit of a very structured part to it. It wants to break from that structure, but it can't.
yeah,
So, but what I do see in the Aquarius archetype is compared to the Scorpio archetype. I once read from Argentinian astrologer Eugenio Caruti. I love, like he says in his book about the moons, he says, um, what for Scorpio, Scorpio is a water sign. It's all about deep emotions. When you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart or strong Scorpio energies, you're very intense emotionally, right? So he said, what is a light breeze for a Scorpio is a great storm for Aquarius.
Now that's the
So
great way of putting that, isn't it? Because Aquarians won't want to deal with the intensity of emotions of a Scorpio. No.
no, no. So that is what we're clearing out now.
Yes, and also I think that's a huge part. And then we've got this Capricorn bit, and Aquarians won't want, especially the Uranian type, as we go further on, probably through the Aquarian era, probably won't
Yeah.
want the statusship and the ideals of containment, which are with Capricorn or Saturn. So I think that's going to be, I think that's going to be a massive change to the whole system as well.
Yes. And don't forget that Saturn squares Uranus, and since it goes almost like a bit after going into Aquarius, it'll start squaring Uranus, and I'm not sure like for half a year or the whole year next year. And Saturn Uranus is an aspect that talks about individuality.
Yeah, I think, and people are going to start. So people who have been hidden, if I put it this way, or maybe in partnerships or many things, they start coming out more about themselves. I
Yeah.
think that's a bit of a battle. For, I'm just going to take this chart down. This is so interesting to talk about. Right, hang on, I'll take it off.
Wait, where are
Thank you.
you?
I just, yeah, where am I? Who? Where am I? Because I think that's going to be a big thing. Because Saturn is about where we're all contained, we're all together. No, 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 you can't come out of the box, that we're all in. We've all got to be in this together. Then the Aquarian type is saying, no, no, no. What do you mean a box?
Yes, but Aquarian type influenced by Saturn is I'm going to do whatever I want. And then everybody else goes, what do you mean you're going to do everything, whatever you want? If you want to do whatever you want, we're not going to play with you. And then Aquarius goes, oops, I'm
Yes,
alone. So
yes,
deal with it, deal with your decisions, deal with the way you're relating to people. It's about being more sovereign, but it's not about being cheeky or super selfish. It is about
yes.
first putting you first, but it is not about doing whatever you want. You have to keep others in mind. So that's also going to play out with that Saturn Uranus archetype.
Because you got this, that's interesting. That's the Saturn Uranus, but that's also got a bit of Libra there as well. We're trying to find that balance, that equilibrium there. And I think by this as well, I think that it's interesting what we're going to see by the change of territories, because Taurus also rules borders, doesn't it? It's also about, it's like your garden, your back garden is your territory. If only imposes on your back garden, oh my goodness, there's trouble. It's let alone the
Yeah.
dog coming into the garden or someone else's cat doing things to your garden, whatever. But yes, it may well be about land and territory. That's going to be interesting about what sort of changes come up there. But I also think though that you've got this Saturn part, which is this. It's also governments, isn't it? Governments ruling this area as well. And Jupiter coming in, that conjunction is going to be interesting. And but I also think it's changing the way we're viewing governments now as well, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Well,
totally. We don't see them like before, you would see a politician, it was like, oh my God, he's like a demigod. We still have that, those remnants from Egyptian times, and so we're starting to realize that no, for he's got a crappy job and everybody's looking at the way he's doing things and he's not doing it right. I'm saying he because most politicians in higher places are men, and the few women are very masculine too, right? So anyway,
yes. When they
so
scratch
now we're
their chin, they scratch their stubble.
yeah, now we're getting debunked. It's like either you're in service of everybody or it's like everybody's going to be against you. But this is what I was talking about, being selfish.
Uh huh. Yes.
You can't do what you want anymore. It's not about that. You have to be more responsible, more sovereign, more mature. You have to take care of yourself and deal with yourself, but you can't forget that there are other people that you're going to have to play with.
Now that makes me think here. This is interesting because this goes back to what I was talking to you about the Navy or the armed forces. That everything is there for you, like the health systems. You go to the kitchens and you go to the galleys and meals cooked for you. Now we're coming away from that. It's like now you got to do things yourself. Is that? Do you think there's more of this age that's going to be? So health systems may change. You may find that things you used to depend upon may start changing, let alone governments.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Mm.
Any like Capricorn structures, like institutions, governments, education, etc. All that has to, they're obsolete. It just doesn't make any sense. It's too hierarchical and it's not functional, because the thing is that the hierarchical structure is what has characterized the evolution of collective consciousness, human collective consciousness, for the last 5,000 years. But now we've changed era, a new 5,000 year era, and it's not what the structure, the social structure that characterizes this era is the network, not a pyramid, not a hierarchy. So a hierarchy, a pyramid, is very, very rigid.
Yes.
Because the apex is supported by the base. So nobody can move, because if somebody moves, this crumbles down. Whereas
Absolutely.
a network, the way networks work, I don't know if you know how internet works, but there are tons of hubs all over the world. And what happens is that if you want to see a website that is housed in somewhere in Colorado, your connection is going to jump from one hub to another randomly. So it will never follow the same route. Okay, so the way a hub works, a hub is a point with highly interconnected. Also, human beings can be hubs. So a hub is, for example, somebody who has a lot of social relationship would be a hub. Like normal human beings have 40 or 50 acquaintances, families, members, acquaintances whom they interact regularly with. We can deal up to 120, 140 maximum. Anything beyond that is only for a few people who can work as hubs. So there's some people that are very, very interconnected to other people, and they work as hubs.
Okay.
So they're like the type of people that, oh, I know who you can see for this. You can go there. You can go there. So these people are the ones that redirect the information. So internet works the same way. There are
That's
hubs that
interesting.
redirect the information.
So do you
And
think
that's
that's
the most,
yeah? Do you think
that
that's
is the
always
most
going to be is
structural.
more hub based, where people start connecting, needing information, going out that way?
Exactly. So, I mean, for example, companies are downsizing already, and they
Yep.
are outsourcing a lot.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and then you can even have like maybe a company who does the outsourcing for you. So you have a company who produces something, who has a relationship with one or many, hopefully many. The more variety in the connections, the more stable the unit, which is
Okay.
totally counter logic if we see it from the patriarchal perspective.
I totally agree with you, and I can understand how this is working. So it's not by a structure which is governed by a government. And I agree with you. I mean, in the old days here, we used to look at people in government. Your local MP was the go-to person to go and get something changed. But nowadays, those people haven't got the same power that they used to. They're more like saying, we're too busy, or there's a disassociation, there's a gap between these people here, so you can't see it the same way. But that's interesting. I think that's going to really start changing down and winding down, as you're saying there.
Exactly.
But this hub connect, and I like the idea of this. This is how
Yeah.
you're going to connect, and how people now. And I agree with you. Companies are becoming smaller, and they're using outsources to be able to get their information out there. I think that's a
Yes.
big point, a big valid point.
And another thing that's related to that is the way companies are pooling information. So before, a company would make a product, say Apple, and there's a sort of a demand, but not that strong of a demand. And then Apple creates a product, and Apple markets the product, and it convinces everybody that they want the product.
Yep.
So the product is thought of and created by a few people, and it's imposed, so to say, amongst a lot of people. So this is also changing, and what's happening is that companies are pooling collectives, particular collectives, who they choose to offer to cover a certain demand. So
Mm-hmm.
you have, for example, I don't know, housewives, 40-year-old housewives. So they go, okay, what are your demands? What is it that you need? And they go, well, we need like this washing liquid. I don't like the bottle because it's not very handy. Okay, we're gonna change it. Let's see. I'm gonna do something different. How does this work for you? So this is happening already, right? But this is like the future trend. So what they do is like, for example, Mercadona does this.
Okay.
So they have they have people, they have like neighbors, normal people from the street that are their consumers, try out products to maximize the product so it is the best, so it's adapted to the people, to their clients use.
That's gonna. This is where life is changing. So we're not using just taking the old as a got to be. But now we're actually looking at things as let's try and modernize things. Let's try and change it. It's quite a fast moving sign for modernization. Aquarius is as well, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's very
yeah, but,
quick for science and physics and things like this.
yeah, and what's very important is that you realize the key to everything is multiple resources, or to have a variety of doors open, so to say. For example, this is very clear when we talk about economics. So right now, like economy was, if you could be in the same company your entire life and get a good wage, that was it. That was like heaven. In
Oh yeah.
Spain, it was like being a civil servant. Your life was covered for the rest of existence. None, and it's not about this anymore. This doesn't have much of a future, you know. And so all these people like studying so much to get the oppositions here, at least in Spain, that's how it works. um, that doesn't have a future now. So the key is the variety. And there's this concept which already exists. It's called Wikinomics. Okay, Wiki is
Wikonomics.
an
I've heard of this. Yes,
economics.
Wikonomics. Remember that?
Wiki is a Hawaiian word which means something. I think it's like small or something like that, or variety or small. And so Wikinomics is all about, for example, if you work, it's not about having one big client. Before it was like, okay, I have one or two big clients I serve, and then a few little ones, and that's it. No, now it's about having different activities and a lot of different clients, so you can interact with them, you can exchange, you can make business with them. But when one falls, or when one area falls, it's not a problem, because other areas open up and you can sustain yourself with what still is there as you open up the other areas. So in the network world, you need a lot of flexibility to sustain yourself. And the security comes from being very flexible, very open, and have a lot of variations. But if you're fixed in one thing,
Yeah.
you're you're screwed, because you don't have, it's too big a structure and too rigid and too solid to adapt to a very, very, very changing market.
I agree. I agree. I think that's exactly how it's going to be, extremely changing. And I think it's interesting as well because structure things like, for instance, the car. And I was actually thinking about this and realizing just how much they're going to change because I like nostalgia. So, like going back to the old, like the steam trains, or going back to thinking about like old Jaguars or old cars. And I think those things there are going to be things that will never be allowed on the road again because we're modernizing so much that the way transport's going to work is they'll be in history museums when at the moment you can still drive one. I'd love to get back to an old Jaguar or something like that. And
But that's, think about it, that's a very fixed way of
oh,
seeing things,
absolutely, absolutely.
because you can still have a Jaguar with an electric engine.
Yes, well, okay. The concept
So,
just
so
doesn't
then the
feel right.
purists would say, but then the purists would say that no, 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 but then it's not a Jaguar because it doesn't have a Jaguar engine. And then so the new perspective is, why not? Why
Why
can't you have the
not?
best of both worlds?
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's a bit like some people were saying here in the past here, because you had a Jensen Inceptor which had a 7.2 litre engine in it. I mean, you just put your foot, the revs went that way, the fuel gauge went that way
Yeah,
very quickly, very quickly. But
yeah.
nowadays you can
So
go and change the engine. I
this
agree with you.
exactly. So this mindset that, oh, all things were really good and were better, and it's like, no, no. There are some things that are nice, but there's a lot of things that are good from the new. So why don't mix it? You know, why can't we mix things?
We certainly can. We can mix. Yes.
Because air signs, which is Aquarius, is an air sign, so we're starting 200 years of an air era, plus the network world era. So it's all about connecting. It's all about different things being brought together and seeing how that works and what works for you. And okay, this works for me, then fine, cool. This doesn't work for me, okay, then just dump it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think networking in a way people are going to start relating towards businesses. And as we were saying here, and I was talking about this to Jodie Pearson from the Oceana Club, we were doing a lot of work with networking, is working with two businesses attracting who work towards the same audience. Their clientele exactly the same. And there's those two coming together to connect to build a community, or to build a product which is where the both of them can feed each other, so they all get it. Compared to the older days where it used to be competitive, very
Yeah, yes,
competitive.
exactly.
Yeah,
And we do this a lot in Instagram. For me, Instagram, I love it because it really works like the future way of relating. So basically, you want to get together with the people who do the same or similar thing to you, and for example, do lives together. So their followers follow you, and your followers follow them. So you want to share the client base with your competition. Actually, that's how broad the audience is, because before you were limited to, I don't know, you lived in a town in a small city, and you were basically limited to not only your small city but most of the time to your neighborhood. And that's
yeah,
a very limited amount of resource. But now it's so open, you've got the entire world.
and
So
connect.
actually
Yes, I agree.
connecting actually makes your audience grow, which
It
is
does.
totally counterintuitive if you see it from the other perspective. Having
Yeah.
said that, the thing about network collaborations, I know the way you're working with Mila is good because it's very open. But like I know this group of people, I was invited to them, and they have like there's you have to pay quite a lot of money to get into the group, and it works only like it's especially working in the Marina Alta area.
Okay. Sounds like a
Yeah, that's
BNI.
there's 120,000 people living in this area.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it encapsulates that amount of people, and so you pay a fair amount of money to register yearly for that, and so that guarantees that the people who are registered there are givers and not takers, which is a
Okay.
good thing. But it still is a limited. It's enclosed. It's limited. It's not open to the world.
Yeah.
So it works, it will work, it will work for a while, but there will come a time when it just doesn't make any sense. It won't have it'll get limited because it's a closed structure.
Okay, I think mindsets will probably say that don't want to go into a structure. They don't want to go into anything. They want to be freer and be able to network more openly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this particular structure, they do sort of network openly, but I can see how it's closed and how it'll have a limited time span because there's not that much opportunity for that much growth
Okay.
in there. But fair enough. With this, it's not that that's wrong. It's not wrong. It's about that any networking structure that is enclosed is not a networking structure.
No, no, no. And that
It's
could be the
like,
interesting thing. And you can see people at the moment doing their, okay, it's not just networking groups, it's loads of different groups. And they're making it too contained. You've got to
yeah,
join it's in a sense here, and then look at astrology with this as well. It's a bit like the church. The church says you claim salvation providing you fit into our containment, and then you
exactly.
have sovereignty. And it's a bit like any group you go and join. If you come into our group's contained, but you can't do anything outside our rules and regulations. Capricorn, yes,
Exactly, exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So that's going to downfall.
mm,
So it's very important that structures are open because structures that are contained, network structures even that are contained, what happens is the dynamic in a contained group is that the when people get together, there's always cellular memories that get activated, which is all traumatic uh, emotional information that is stored in our body that will get activated. And all that will start to move in between the people, creating ripple effects between, like, this is like oh, I didn't like how she looked at me because she didn't do what I expected, and oh, look at this. And so that creates like a ripple effect. That ripple effect needs to calm down, otherwise the internal structure will be very unstable and
Yep.
very non-functional. So
Yes.
what happens always in contained groups is that the ripples will always go towards, gravitate towards one person who will take it all. So
Yeah.
there's one person who is normally a very, either a very abandoned person. For example, in a family, it could be like the child who ends up not working and taking drugs and all that stuff, or it can be somebody who is very service orientated,
Okay.
somebody who's very willing. And so these two profiles of people will just take in all the negative emotional information from the group. So the ripple effect will cease, the stability will come back, but this person will get overloaded by the junk. And in the end, that person will turn into the cancer of the group. Okay, this
Yeah.
is how cancer works in the body too, by the way.
Yes.
And what they do is that they just take it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes.
this person is left, is pushed out of the group, and then the group says, okay, we're free of this person who's so negative, right? But then of course the same dynamic will happen over and over again. Whereas if you have an open networking group, that will never happen.
I agree,
Because
and I think that's the way to work. Yeah, I think that's the way to work. If you've got something like that, it'll be a fabulous. It'll always be an interesting journey. I think it's a way as well. I mean, even when we're talking about relationships and we're talking about family and we're talking about how we all connect with one another, and we go back to when we have the roles of mother and father, or the father figure, or even how we relate to these. And I think that's all going to change as well over the next, and how it is wise for the parents now to promote independence and thought and being in your own person, rather than feeling that you've got to follow the pattern of everybody else. Now, that's something I've been practicing throughout these past few weeks, is because I've got the Sun and Mercury conjunct together in Capricorn, and the olden days was I used to think about things and think and think. In fact, I used to overthink because it's in the 10th house as well. Aims, ambitions, where am I going? What am I doing? Da, da, da. And it was always like this. I always felt I was thinking. But now, what I'm doing more frequently is going straight into my heart and into my body and saying, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about that? And it is so different. So different. I go, why am I thinking about all these things I don't need to think about? And why am I getting stressed about things I do not even need to worry about? And this is the energy that really resonates down. How easy it is when you start thinking, okay, stop thinking up there and start feeling, understanding the word what feel means, which sounds like sounds stupid to say it, but actually we keep thinking and we don't. Well, how do you feel? And they're saying, well, I'm thinking this. No, that's thought still. How are you feeling?
Yes. We have to learn how to feel. And when you feel, for example, oh, what do I have to do? Oh, no, I can't go that way because that's dangerous for me. You're not feeling, you're thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the heart never gives you negative information. If you're getting negative information from your feelings, it's your mind.
That is that is a huge point to make as well. A massive one. If you're getting negative feelings from your heart, it's not your heart, that's your head. That's a massive thing for people to take in and understand it, because as soon as you start listening to that and getting it, you go, oh my God, why have I been leading my life like this when all you've got to do is feel?
Yes. And if you feel your way through life, you'll just gravitate towards the easiest road possible.
And probably the most successful.
Exactly. It's like so easy just navigating with your heart.
Yes.
It's so easy, and that's what we're going to learn, and that's the way to relate in a network world. There's this institute. It's Greg Braden created it. It's called Heart Math Institute.
Yes, I know them. Yes.
They have a video in YouTube.
Yes.
So if you watch the video, you put in YouTube or in Google, you put Heart Math Institute, it'll immediately pop up. It's like a 7-minute plus video.
Yes.
And it explains in a very visual fashion what it's like to be in coherence. That means to be connected to your heart and relate to others connected to your heart. and it's a beautiful, uplifting video. I really recommend that you watch it.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Heart Math Institute.
Heart
Okay.
Math Institute. Yes,
Oh, yeah,
math
we
is.
still haven't spoken about the energies of today,
I
which
know.
is interesting.
We get so into this that is so
Yeah.
interesting. An hour just goes ping. We had a conversation here. Then it's
Yeah.
interesting. Actually, it's interesting. Just let you guys know that every now and then, Gia might get the opportunity to go and meet up. And some people think here, well, you spoke about so much. What do you talk about? Actually, no, we still gas. We still guess. Yes, but the most funniest things going about which star sign is in Star Wars, for example. Like who is Luke Skywalker?
No, but you know what? In that, the scene where that allegedly Darth Vader says, "Luke, I'm your father," which he never said that, but anyway. So that scene
Yes,
on its own has almost all the archetypes.
it does. Yes, I agree. We're
As you see, I can have a conversation about anything you want.
exactly. You can relate to everything here, anything everything and anything there. Fantastic. Okay, so May Williams, you just you just wrote here, any messages from Spirit, please. On this particular show, we need your date of birth, we need a favourite colour, and a question, and then relate it that way. So if you'd like to write that in, May, they'll be more than happy to do that. But lovely to see some of you people coming in from YouTube as well. That's good. That's good. Okay, right. So.
Energies of today?
Oh, energies today. I was trying to think. Hang on, I knew we were going to talk about something. Yes, energies today. So the energies today, we've got. Just bring up the. Shall I bring up that chart again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bring that in, and. But there we go. There we go. Brilliant.
Okay. So what we have here is we have Venus in Scorpio. So Venus in Scorpio loves drama, loves codependency.
Yeah.
Loves to get stuck in there, right?
Yeah.
And it's with Neptune, so there's idealism. It's with Pluto, so it's like if I don't have my drama, if I don't have that dosage of drama, I'm gonna feel abandoned. This is important for me. I can't drop this. So we're gonna have all these like clingy, dramatic energies going through, and it's like what. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but there's a lot of aspects reminding us that we're changing the way of how we're relating. So we have a moon in Libra who is like, no, but this is not going to get you to a nice place. And then we
No.
have this moon in Libra is with Lilith and Uranus in Taurus. So they want independency. Uranus is also with Chiron. It's bringing Chiron and Aries, bringing in new information about the way we relate to each other, about how important individuality is. Don't forget, we have Mars and Aries too.
Yes.
And so there's also this idealistic Sun Neptune aspect to making a T-square with the notes, and it's like, yeah, but I want to do what I want, and no, you got to cooperate with other people, and all this Mercury in no aspects in Sagittarius with Sun in Sagittarius is saying like, okay, but look at this shit that the way you've been relating to before, because Sagittarius archetypes expands everything, so it's very, very obvious. It's like you want to do what you want,
Yes.
what you want. You can't be dramatic, and it's like, what do I do? And then so all these ways of relating with each other are just falling to pieces. We're going like, God, I don't like this. It's like I want to do something different. I want to be me. I want to relate to others from a different space. So we're going to see the contrast between these two things. I think that's a bit of what's going on. So it's like really letting go of a big chunk of the way we've been relating to other people.
I also think there that I agree with you when you talk about the archetype and you talk about the Mercury Sun. I think is also with the Mercury behind the Sun is coming up to it. It's going to form a conjunction. It's going to go forward. It's about like, hey, hang on, guys. Things are going to come up for a little bit of a change. Let's look ahead. Try to look ahead. Try to build towards. See if there's a philosophical way of approaching this. Looking towards the future, for instance, people. So I agree with you. Venus Scorpio does have a bit of drama to it, doesn't it? And a lot of people, I think they've got the moon, if they've got a lot of Scorpio in their chart, especially Venus in there as well, they do like to get their own way.
Yeah, and remember, Sun is in Sag, so with the South Node. So it's a lot about it's a bit of a very polarized perspective, you know, a lot of totalitarianism, a lot of, oh, I'm right, you're wrong, and all this stuff. And I think this is like really playing out in the States. They're really suffering that.
Yes, yes, I think so too. Yeah, and I think as well, it's and then it all shifts as we get a little bit further on in December. It all starts flying back into Capricorn again. But I think then the sun's going to start illuminating the changes coming ahead, and then oh my goodness, come into January. Wow, I think we're going to see quite a different year kick off, strike quick, quite quickly,
Quite
quite quickly.
quickly, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
quick, quick,
13th
quick,
and
quick, quick,
14th
quick.
are
Yes.
interesting days too. Yeah, yeah,
I think so too. That's too. And it's all interesting, isn't it? It's all on that horizon from Scorpio all the way through to Taurus, and not much at all on the horizon above it. So it's all in one area of the charts here. Not much to do with home, not much to do with work, relationships. A little bit going on there with Moon in Libra, but that's only there for a couple of days. But everything is about everything else. Everything else. So.
hmm
When we start coming into it, I'll just drop that there. I'll just come back to there. Take that. Hello, I'm back. Take it off there. So when we start talking about relationships coming into next year, whether people are single, whether they're in relationships or not, and we start coming into the Aquarian side, uh, um, the sign of Aquarius is a very friendly sign. I always found that if you've got a great group and you've got an Aquarian in there, normally the group is quite lively, or it's quite connected. You need an Aquarian because they're
yeah,
the friendliest sign, so to speak, here. Do you think relationships, the way we relate towards each other and what we want from each other, is going to change from this Aquarian era that we're going into?
yeah, definitely.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good.
So we're not going to search security out. We're not going to outsource our sense of security to anybody. We're going to be more center based, more sovereign, as I'm always saying. Realizing that what makes you feel secure is you taking care of you.
Yes.
So the degree to which people do not take care of themselves, especially women, it's unbelievable. Like it's so normal to the typical mother, housewife, human being who is like taking care of everybody, and you go, and what do you want? And they're just like, what,
What?
what?
Well, I do it.
So
My job is for them. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. They can't say anything about themselves, nothing at all. That's how disconnected they are. And this is so damaging. It's so
Is
damaging to yourself and to others.
yes, it is. It
So
is
this has to
enormously.
finish.
Yeah, I think if you can get into your heart and start feeling and understand the concept of
Yeah.
feeling, then you're going to
If we
follow
get
a
into our
suitable
hearts,
path.
Phil,
Sorry?
we won't have, if we get into our hearts, many of the diseases that are like a plague nowadays, for example, cancer,
Yep.
fibromyalgia, what
Diabetes.
autoimmune diabetes, autoimmune disease, if we're connected to our hearts, this is gonna disappear. We don't need doctors, we don't need pharmaceuticals, we need people connected to their hearts. That's what creates
That's a scary thing
integral
for some
health.
people, isn't it? Because they're relying on pills and tablets because that's their function to keep themselves going. And
Exactly.
I'm not saying anybody. I'm not saying
And since
anybody.
they're scared, they're projecting since they're scared, they're projecting their fright on us.
Well, that's interesting because I went to a clinic. I went to a clinic and I went there because my wife had a bone alignment in her neck was a bit wrong, but in there was a lot of fibromyalgia patients. And I work with these guys. It's interesting to listen to these. But what they were saying to me here is it became extremely competitive as who had the worst pain. And it's like
Yes,
you were the in one if your pain was worse than someone else's, which is nuts. Which is
I know.
that's stuck in here. That's stuck in something
Really.
like we're
But
relating to
still,
fear and victim mode.
yes, yes, yes. But this isn't new.
No.
I don't know if you know, but like a bit over 100 years ago, people got tuberculosis.
Yes.
So it was basically like rich women who mostly would get the tuberculosis, and it was like it was romanticized. It was almost fantasized. It was almost like, oh, you were a beautiful martyr if you died of tuberculosis.
Oh my goodness. Because I didn't know that bit, but that's interesting. I know tuberculosis around
Yeah,
Victorian
I'm
time,
older
wasn't
than
it?
you think. I'm older than you think.
Yes. Use a very good. Yes, it's amazing what special effects
I
can
think
do.
well.
Yeah.
I'm a few hundred years old.
Yes. So that says what we're talking about there about the competitiveness of illnesses. Yes, that's egotism. Yes, it has got an ego, but it's ego fear, isn't it? The ego fear, like to be
Ego
considered. How
is
would you
fear.
like? And it's interesting when I say to some of these, how would you like to go out there pain free? It's almost like the fear. It's a bit like coming out of jail. Coming out of jail.
Yes,
How would you like to be free? No,
no,
it's
no.
so bizarre, so bizarre, it's so strange that we get used to a containment, that we get used to it. But the
Yes,
thing is,
yes.
it's not
And
good for us.
everything and the entire life that you build around yourself based on that is a life based on on belonging, on favors and stuff like that. So it's like when you're ill, you get people praising you taking care of you, you get people considering you. You don't want to get rid of that. Look, I once had a friend, and this is unbelievable if you think about it, but she was a therapist. She was a good therapist, but she didn't have much work. So I'm good at getting people practical. So we became friends, and I always, I'm always stimulating people. Well, I was. Now I take care of myself. I used to stimulate other people so they could get the best of themselves out and all that stuff. So she started getting some structure. She started getting some business, and when she realized she was earning money, she started to boycott herself,
Yeah,
and she stopped earning money and she stopped working because she had built a system based on favors that other people would do to her. So she would travel, she would do courses, she would get free lodging, she would get free meals, she would get all these free favors because she was poor, and she would go, oh, I don't have money, I can't do this, and everybody would praise her and would tell, oh, you're so good, you're worth so much, here, I will pay for this, I'll pay for that. So she actually had a lifestyle that would she would this money she would spend would be threefold what she earned
yeah,
because it was
yeah.
all given to her. And if she would actually be sovereign and be responsible of herself and her work, she would lose that. So the fear of losing that would make her boycott her success.
I can relate that to a lot of stories I've had with people when I was helping people with employability and getting people from the social security into employment and having that stability through social security because they don't have to do anything. Well, I'm not putting it down to because they weren't looking, they were looking for jobs, but coming away from social security and into a job and realizing they were going to get money rather than just being given to them was a complete change of mindset altogether. And the
Exactly.
most interesting ones, I think, was a chap we got into being a motorcycle mechanic, working for a nice garage. He was that's what he always wanted to go and do. We got him into a job there, fantastic. And 6 months later, the bosses were phoning us and saying, we've got a problem with this guy. And I said, well, what's wrong? He says, he comes in, he's half asleep. He's half asleep. He doesn't do his job. He's grumpy. So we got him in and spoke to him and said, well, he lives with his family, his mother, there, his brothers and sisters and siblings connect and nieces and nephews. They don't work and they're up to 3 o'clock in the morning playing computer games and all sorts. And he can't get sleep because his life is different. His life is so different.
Yeah.
So he was coming in half asleep. So eventually, what he helped him to do was get him a place to live by himself. Then he enjoyed it because actually he then opened up and said, as soon as I started earning money, everybody wanted it. They
Exactly.
wanted his money. So yes, a few changes there. And it's interesting.
That's the
These are the
ripple effect.
changes. These are
That's the ripple effect in the community.
yes, yes. And this is probably what's going to happen to people is their lives start to change, and then the old systems where people start to say, "Oh, good, well, you're earning this, you can give me that." That's all going to change because the people are going to say here, "Well, actually, living in my own heart, I realise I want to look after myself." And if people
Yeah,
don't want to look after themselves, other people don't want to look after themselves, then why am I looking after them?
exactly. So this will mean that you will have to lose some people down the road, which
Yes,
is normal.
yes, which is normal, and that is interesting, isn't it? It is the word normal. It's not abnormal, and to understand, you don't need to have guilt attached to that.
No,
It's
no,
absolutely fascinating. We've gone on this for
no.
hours.
Basically, when you open your eyes, you realize that those people that were around you resonate with a very low aspect of you, and
Yes,
you need to find uh, more like-minded people that resonate with a higher vibe of yours.
And the higher vibe is when you're in your heart. Although it's further down your body, when you're in that, you're up here. You're up on this part here. That's a beautiful place to be.
Yes.
And sometimes I was just out with my dog, taking him for a walk, and I just think, oh, I'm going to feel through my heart. I just think how everything is in the right place where it needs to be, because you don't feel anything else other than I'm feeling good.
Yes, exactly.
It's funny, isn't it? It's lovely. The experience. It's learning to understand that you can hear the words, how do you feel? But it is feeling, not just thinking feeling. It's feeling the feeling. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes. There we go. There we go. What a lovely morning so far. Lovely morning. So how's Christmas looking? I haven't even looked towards Christmas Day yet. How's that looking astrologically? Have you looked yet?
I can look, but let's see.
We could chat about
Because
this a bit closer. I think because we've got a few more, but this everything starts to move into the Aquarian era even before Christmas itself, doesn't it? And we've got Uranus is going to change direction as we go into January, so really it's going to start to revolutionise and change the way we think about our lives. But guys, just say out there as we're talking about here, learn to understand what it is about feeling the feeling.
well, on Christmas night, Christmas Day, sorry, the 24th, Christmas, yeah, on the 24th, Christmas Eve, Venus is in Sagittarius with no aspects,
Okay.
which means that's the day to travel, guys. It's
Yes.
like, go for it. But at the same time, it's since it has no aspects, what happens is when there's no aspect, there's no control. So some people will just happen to be able to travel on that day, and some people it will not happen, and you don't know which one you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because Venus with no aspects is it's okay, I'm trapped. I'm closed off. I don't want to see anybody. In Sagittarius, it's all about I want to travel. And with no aspects, it's about we have no control over it.
Yes, so travel may go a bit AWOL on that day anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be
Okay.
interesting to see.
Yes, and summer being Capricorn, Mercury, I think by that time's in Capricorn. And
Yes, Sun conjunct Capricorn, Sun conjunct Mercury in Capricorn, and Saturn, Jupiter will already have been 3 days before in Aquarius.
so it's interesting how we start looking then. I think as well, I think how the containment of things. This is going to be interesting. Like those old war films. Actually, it's not war films. It's a lot of technology films. Like, for instance, you get. I'm just trying to think like Total Recall, something like this, for instance. Or you get some of the advanced things, advanced games, and how you press a button and an imaginary screen comes up, and then people are moving things around the screen, computer-wise. I could really see because we're losing the Capricorn structure containment of a computer, it then becomes a screen that pops up in front of you because it's not restricted by a frame or a structure or something like this. Or even mobile phones, how are we going to relate to those? I can see an image an image coming up rather than being fixed in a screen. It's like you're holding on to maybe a tablet in your hand, but there's this array of someone there talking to you and they're moving around and you can see their imagery. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like a hologram. Look,
Yes, hologram, yes.
I'm thinking for the 24th. So Sun conjunct Mercury in Capricorn, and that is making an aspect to Chiron in Aries and Uranus Lilith in Taurus. So and the moon in Taurus. So it's a bit like the feeling I get with this, and with only Pluto left in Capricorn and the other two in Aquarius, it's the reinvention of Santa Claus.
The reinvention of Santa Claus. Wow.
Yeah, because it's gonna be like, okay, we're doing things this way, but does this make any sense? What is the essence of Santa Claus? So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna buy presents, or are we going to reinvent the way we give presents? Or
I know
you
where it's
know,
going. I know it's going. Right. We got global warming, so it's not going to be Santa Claus going ho 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 and coming down a sleigh. It's going to be some red hot chick in a 2-bit outfit coming and going, ho, I'm Sandra Claus.
yeah, right.
Would you like a gift?
Yeah, that's very, very useful for grown-up boys who still are boys and believe in fantasies.
Me? Oh, look at you putting everybody down. Look at you trying to put the boys down. Yes. Didn't work here. Didn't work.
Yeah, you and your fantasies. Anyway, so yeah, it's about reinventing the concept of Santa Claus. It's like, what does this make sense anymore? Should we tell kids a different story now? It's like we tell Santa Claus is traveling, and then the kids are gonna go, but he's gonna bring the virus. I don't want him at home. And we're gonna get traumatized if he comes home. So
Oh
they're
my
gonna go,
goodness, yes.
yeah, so we have to reinvent the story. It's that we can't have this old guy coming in with deers and everything here because it's he's gonna wear a mask. It's like what are we gonna do? So are we gonna can we pay buy the same presents? It's like no, we have to tell different stories. So we're gonna have to make something up. So I think it can be like a reinvention of the Santa Claus archetype.
Okay, this
And
sounds good. This sounds good. All right. Okay, maybe Santa Claus coming with a mask on with a. Anyway, there we go. All right, all right. It's been fabulous. It's been a lovely, lovely morning talking with you, and an hour just shoots by so quickly. But as soon as we start talking about these subjects, it just goes on and on. And thank you guys for you guys joining this morning and listening, and for your comments too. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday. And if you have any questions you would like a reading for next Wednesday's show, please write in your date of birth. Please write in a favourite colour and a question. In the meantime, on Friday evening at 8 o'clock Spain time, 7 o'clock UK, a bit earlier if you're in the States, I'm joined by the fabulous Helen Grady. We're going to be talking about all things spiritual, mediumship readings. If you like a lot of media reading, then come along. It's a Friday night show, so it is lively, it's fast paced, and we just get on and do your readings that way. So your spiritual stuff. But always love this show. It's so interesting. It gets you thinking. These working with you always gets everybody thinking. So I think it's always a fabulous thing, and I hope you guys out there have a fabulous day wherever you are. And thank you so much. And guys, you take care. Oh, I see some lovely face coming here. Francesca, you're more than welcome, Francesca. It's lovely to see you. And goodbye from the producer. So, guys, okay, have a fabulous day wherever you are.
yeah.